Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. The Pool Guy Podcast Show. Yeah!
Hi, and welcome to the Pool Guy Podcast Show. I'm going to do a special recap podcast here. This is episode 500, so I'm going to reset the podcast for you in this episode and give you some information about things upcoming and, of course, all the content available from my sites. Leslie's Pool Supplies is a proud partner of the Pool Guy Podcast Show. Leslie's Pool Supplies has been do-it-yourselfers and pool trade professionals' trusted partner since 1963, providing quality products and services to make pool care easy and solutions and expertise to do it right. And if you're a subscriber to the podcast show or a regular listener, I want to give you a special thank you here. Thank you for making the podcast such a big success. At the recording of this podcast, there are over 450,000 downloads of the podcast show, which is pretty good, I would think, as far as podcasts go. I'm not an expert on the numbers there, but there's quite a lot of listens to each episode. And, of course, I have a lot of different episodes available for you to listen to on the podcast show. This is just one of the many things that I do. And I'll briefly go over some of the things that I do so that you kind of know. I'm kind of all over the internet, so I'm kind of like a hydra, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. So I'm spread out pretty widely. I have my YouTube channel, Swimming Pool Tips and How To, and you can find a lot of great video content there. I have over 1,000 YouTube videos. It has 85,000 subscribers on my channel and 44 million video views. You can find my YouTube channel pretty easily by going to my website, and this is something else that I do. The website is swimmingpoollearning.com. So the website where all my content is located again is called swimmingpoollearning.com. You'll find links to the podcast, of course, also my YouTube channel that I just mentioned. From the website, it's also a top swimming pool website and highly ranked on the internet. And I have a lot of web pages you can go to and scroll through, and definitely you can check that out. And then besides the podcast and the YouTube, I also have a coaching program for those in the industry, and I also have some homeowners that join also that want to learn more about their pool care. But it's mainly geared towards those in the pool industry. In this coaching program, I hardly promote it. I know that I probably should promote it more at the beginning of the podcast. I have a little blurb at the end of it that I talk about, but I'm not one for self-promotion, and people find the coaching program anyway. Currently, there's about 250 members in this program, along with some of the manufacturers and business owners. You can see the banners on my website of some of the partner companies of the coaching program. I have Skimmer, Riptide, Taylor, Orenda, Remington Solar, just to name a few, Mako Bags. So you can find these Primate Pool Tools, Bottom Feeder. I guess I can name all of them here, but basically these are companies that partner that offer discounts to the members of the group of some form. The biggest discount you get for joining the group, of course, is 10% off your general liability insurance through SPPA or SPA, and this is a great insurance company. And basically, general liability in a nutshell is if you make a mistake out there, you'll be liable for the cost of any kind of repairs normally. So if you leave the water on at a pool and it floods the backyard in the house and the customer sues you for $30,000, if you don't have insurance, you're going to pay that $30,000 out of your pocket. But if you have general liability insurance, you'll pay the deductible, which I believe is less than $1,000 or about $1,000, and then the insurance company will pick up the rest of that for you. Kind of like auto insurance, basically. When you get in a car accident, if you're at fault, your insurance company will pay for the damages and any kind of lawsuit that arises from it. And so general liability insurance is definitely a must if you're doing pool service out there. You need to have that so you can sleep well at night. I think without that, you run the risk of making an error and having liability or being accused of something and having to pay quite a bit of money out of your pocket. And so I always say, would you drive your car around without auto insurance? Probably not. Then why would you run your business without any kind of liability insurance? So let me touch on my background a little bit in the industry. I started when I was 16 years old. A family friend in 1988 trained me that summer. I drove his little Dodge, I think it's called a Dodge Rampage. It was like a little tiny truck with him. It was really cool. He had an El Camino also. His name was Doug Ward. He was pretty well known in Orange County. He was one of the first to be putting in the Aqualink RS8 controllers And I learned definitely a lot from him. He was a very old school kind of guy. He wore blue slacks, a light blue dress shirt, dark blue slacks, light blue dress shirt, and he definitely was on the ball as far as customer service. He would talk to all the customers. He would never get chlorine on his pants or shirt. I don't know how he did that. I myself still splash myself on occasion with chlorine when I pour it in the pool, but again, he was a professional, better than me for sure in that area. In all aspects, I think, of service, he excelled at. And so I learned from him in 1988 when I was 16. Then I got a job working for a local pool service company, or pool store actually, and I was doing part of the route for the pool guy that was working at that store. And I can tell you right now, I knew nothing. I mean, I had 1 summer of training, which wasn't a lot, and I knew how to, check the chemistry, but I really had very little knowledge of what I was doing out there. And back then, of course, there were no cell phones and no way to get a hold of anyone. So you're on your own, and the learning curve was pretty steep for me, and it took me a while to catch on. There were some customers that complained, of course, and I did make some errors that were regrettable. Nothing to where it was catastrophic, thank goodness. But, you have a 17-year-old working your pool route, you're going to have problems. But back in that day, 16, 17-year-olds, I think we were more mature, and we were really in the job market. Compared to nowadays, I don't think you would have the same kind of ability of a 16 or 17-year-old. I don't want to generalize, but I think back in my era, we were a lot more mature, and we did things a lot more like adults did them. And so being 17 and doing the pool route was kind of like someone in their 20s doing the pool route, I think, nowadays, if I wanted to correlate that. And so it was definitely a rough and bumpy beginning, but I really stuck with it. I did take a little break at some point to do some real estate, and I have acquired some properties through that. I have rental income, and I still do real estate now on the side, but I've been doing the pool thing full time now for well over 25 years. And I do have a small route I maintain still, so that I'm out there still doing the service, so I can be in the trenches. I think if I were not to do any pools at all, it would eventually make me not as relevant, because then I'm not up on the things, and I'm not actually out there doing the work that everyone else is doing. And I think that's an important aspect for me to maintain a route still, so that I'm in the trenches with everyone else, and I kind of feel what you feel. Like when it's windy, I also get bummed out like everyone else, because I have to go out there and clean the pools, just like you. And I think these are the things that keep me grounded. I don't have to really do that route, but I like to be out there and still work and still be in touch with the industry and what actually brought me into it, which is weekly pool service. So I'm humble enough to say to you that I am not the premier expert on everything, and that's why I enjoy talking to others in the industry on my podcast. Wayne Iversich, Rudy Stankiewicz, try to say that 10 times quickly. All these people, Harold from Arenda Technologies. All these people are a lot smarter than me, I think, as far as chemistry goes. Terry Arco from HASA. I think, I know a lot about chemistry, and I use it, of course, daily in my work, but I'm definitely not as fine-tuned and as, I wouldn't say that I'm at their level, because that's all they do is chemistry. So those are all the chemistry experts I like talking to on the podcast, and I'll email Wayne from Taylor on occasion with a question, and he gets back to me right away, because I think he's one of the wisest people in the industry as far as chemistry goes. And again, I think that this is what makes the podcast relevant, is that I'm not like this, all-knowing person out here. I do know a lot, but I am, again, humble enough to know that I'm not the expert in every field. And so when I have these guests on, I really do learn something from them, and I hope that you learn something from hearing them. And then I will give where I think I excel at, in business. I think I excel there in that field there. I built successful businesses from scratch, so I have that background. And so I know a lot about finances. I know about payroll, employees, running a business, all those aspects I think I bring to the coaching program. And this is something that I think I'm pretty good at. Again, I'm probably not the premier business expert in that area, but I've been successful enough to where I can help people with their service business. I can tell them that, your website needs this, your you need to have this on your truck, and things like that. The other area I excel at is product reviews and testing. I pretty much tested every pump. Well, not every pump, but the newer ones coming out, I'll probably get my hands on those. But a lot of equipment I've used and tested, and in practical senses are on my pool route. And so I have first-hand experience of these products. For example, I guess about 12 years ago, I can't quite remember exactly, Pentair came out with their IntelliFlow, and I had one on my service account. It was actually given to a local builder, and he put it on the account. And it was the first generation IntelliFlow pump, which there are a few of those still out there operating. It has some glitches, of course, so I have really good experience with the variable speed pumps because I was around when they actually first started coming out. I'm also very experienced with saltwater systems because, again, I know they've been in Australia a lot longer than here in America, but I was around when they first came out to California. And of course, the first ones were the Ecomatics, which were horrible. Then you had the IntelliChlor, which are pretty good, and they still are in production by Pentair, and they're still a good saltwater system. And so I'm pretty familiar with saltwater systems, saltwater pools, which I think is going to be trending in the future for sure because of the fact that they generate their own chlorine. So I also I consider myself an expert in automatic cleaners for sure. I've just about tested or had every single automatic cleaner on the market, from suction, pressure, to robotic, and I really prefer the robotic cleaners personally, and I've reviewed, I don't know, close to 40 different robotic pool cleaner models. So I actually got my hands on each model. It's not some website where I talk about the features. I've actually used these cleaners myself, and every product that I every product that I promote or mention on the podcast or YouTube, I've actually had my hands on, and that makes me kind of unique, I think, in the industry. Also, I do not receive any money from those who want a YouTube video filmed on their product, so I can be unbiased in my opinion of the product, and I can also give the manufacturer really good feedback because they're not paying me to make a video for them. And I think that's important to let you know because they don't pay me either to be on the podcast. In fact, I don't have any podcast sponsors, just Leslie's Pool Supply. They have the intro and the banners on my sites, but other than that, and of course the partner companies pay a small fee to be in the coaching program. But other than that, there's no one that actually pays me to review their products for them. And so I'm not on anyone's payroll. I don't get paid by Jandy or Pentair or Hayward. And I do that for a purpose, or on purpose, I should say, because I don't want to be under anyone's control as far as, like, you know, if I were to have a contract with Pentair, then I wouldn't be able to have anyone from Jandy or Hayward on my show. And then if I have them under contract on YouTube, I can't show their competitors' pumps. And so I like to be very unbiased if I can, to a point. Of course, I have my preferences, but you know, if you give me three of their pumps, a Pentair, Jandy, and Hayward pump, put them on a table, I can go over the pros and cons of each one and let you know which one I prefer for your pool. And basically, I can be unbiased that way. So if you were to email me, you can email me at david@swimmingpoollearning.com. I'll give you my honest opinion of which pump to put on your pool, and I'm not kind of kowtowing to one manufacturer over another because, again, they're not paying me. So I'll give you an honest opinion on automatic cleaners also. So I think this makes me kind of unique in the industry, that I can give you an honest opinion regarding a cleaner or a pool tool of some type, or even a manufactured product without having to lead you in one direction or another. And it keeps me honest, I think, that way too, that I'm not getting paid to promote or film a certain product. And I think I should also touch on the partnership I have with Leslie's Pool Supply. Now, they're really pushing to make their brand a lot better, and in this last year they've really made huge strides in making their stores better at performing as far as with their customer service, their knowledge. And I think the one thing that I'm partnering with Leslie's over, which I'm excited about, is their Leslie's Pool Pro program. And this is a wholesale program for the pool service professional to purchase your equipment, supplies at a wholesale price, and also reap some new benefits they're coming out with. And there's going to be a whole list of new things they're going to do to really help bring pool service professionals into the store and provide excellent service and wholesale pricing. and other benefits. One thing you may not know, that if you open a Leslie's wholesale account, you can actually get referred to the customers that come in looking for pool service. So Leslie's doesn't do any actual weekly maintenance. They do install equipment, but they don't do any actual pool service. So if the pool's green, or if they want weekly service, Leslie's does not touch that. And so if you have a wholesale account there and you spend, I think, $15,000 a year, which is pretty easy to do in this industry, they'll refer you to any customer that walks in there. If they're looking for a pool service, you could build a pretty good sized route just with an account at Leslie's while they're referring you customers. I don't have an exact percentage of the amount of people that walk into Leslie's that want pool service, but I would say a good 30% of the people that go in there would probably want a pool service provider, and so Leslie's will refer you there. And so you can actually sign up on their website or walk into a local Leslie's, better yet, and talk to the manager, and they'll sign you up for a free wholesale account. It's free. All you need is a business card, and if you want to be part of the referral program, you need to have at least $1 million of general liability insurance. So I hope that doesn't sound like a commercial to you, but I just wanted to promote that, and that's what I'm going to do moving forward in 2021, is really promote Leslie's Wholesale and the fact that they're trying to attract pool service pros in there, companies, to shop and buy supplies there. So that's one of the things I partner with Leslie's for, and that's why you see the banners on my website. You see the banners on my podcast icon, and the intro is going to change also to reflect that eventually. But definitely I'm leaning towards more working directly with Leslie's Wholesale, and so you'll see more of that reflected in the coming year. So let me give you a little bit more about myself. I'll go back a little bit. So I've been married for 25 years. Actually, next year will be 25 years to the same person in 1996. And we have a 12-year-old son currently, just one son. And so I'm also really committed to what he does, his activities, and I'm trying to shape him and mold him to be a productive member of society, and also to have a good business sense, because I think this is something that I didn't get when I was growing up. My parents never taught me anything, how to balance a checkbook. They gave me zero business knowledge, which is regrettable because I think it would have helped me a lot. I think I'm fairly successful without it. But of course, I think if my parents would have sat down with me and showed me how to balance a budget or other aspects, I think I would have probably be more successful, I would say. So for him, he has his own 3D printing business. He makes keychains, he makes custom prints, he'll make logos, things of that nature. And so he bought all of his equipment. He has 5 printers, and they're like $500 each or even more. And he buys all of his materials, and he pays for all the shipping. All the money that he makes, he reinvests, or he'll use it for other things. One thing he's doing currently is that 10% of all his earnings goes towards World Vision to buy farm animals for those in need around the world. And currently he's purchased 10 goats and 20 chickens, which is $1,100, which is a lot of money. Of course, we matched his gift to make it double so they could reach that goal. And so that's something he does. And I think it's important to teach him also to be generous with his money and his time. I think this is something lacking in the capitalistic world, and I really like companies that give back, and so I want him to be someone who gives back. And one reason why I do the YouTube and the podcast is I want to give back to people and help them. The coaching program, to be honest with you, $10 a month to text me, $20 a month to call me, that's really low. I should be charging $80 a month to text me and maybe $120 to call me. But I want as many people to get the benefit of the program as can get the benefit. And so I keep the rates ridiculously low. And basically $10 is what you're going to save on your liability insurance. So if you get the discount 10% off, you're going to save the monthly fee that you would pay for the coaching program. So basically it's free for a lot of people that are getting the discount on their liability insurance. And again, I do that because I want to help people in the industry. I want to make the industry better. And by making the industry better, it also translates for the homeowner. You'll get better pool service. And if you do the pool yourself, you're going to get better at doing the pool yourself. And I don't think that I'm in two worlds. I think that people that do their own pools are going to do their own pool service, and people that want a pool service company are going to hire a pool service company. And there's a lot of crossover in that area. I think I get criticized a lot by certain pool guys in the industry that, hey, you're helping the homeowners out take care of their own pool. Well, yeah, they can find a lot of stuff on YouTube anyway. And it's just like anything. The mechanic's not going to be yelling at you if you do your own oil change. I mean, some mechanics may yell at you, but you can do your own car maintenance if you wanted to. I used to do my own oil change, my own brakes, everything myself. I even put an alternator in my truck. I don't do any of that anymore because I realize that my time is kind of not spent wisely there. I'm not really good at auto repair, so I let my mechanic do everything. But there's no difference, I don't think. And so if you're thinking that, I help too many homeowners, I think you're looking at the wrong way, because when you help people, they benefit from that, and then they're going to have a good image of people in the industry. I think if you're a pool service professional and someone wants a bid from you and you go there and they just want information and they don't want your service, if you're nice to them and you present yourself as a professional, when they do need help, they're going to call you back. And I think same thing when you're helping someone online is that they'll realize the benefit of a professional. And if they need somebody, they'll definitely call a professional to do their service. And I think, again, I don't want to separate helping just pool pros. I think helping both really benefits everyone in the industry. I also am pretty open and unbiased towards different aspects of pool chemistry. So I do get criticized occasionally by someone who's in the trouble-free pool forum that, hey, how can you be promoting this and that? I don't really promote one thing over another. If you listen to my podcast, I kind of give you a rundown of the pros and cons of every product, and then you can decide which one you want to use. But I'm not going to say exclusively I don't want to use this product or that product. Now, there are certain things that I don't like using in my pools on my route. I'll give you an example. One would be just a straight copper algicide. I don't like that because then you can have staining develop. But I'm open to other products like phosphate removers, the Pool RX. All these, of course, are conflicting with each other, by the way. Borates, they all have their own market, I should say. And so I will give you that information on those products so you can make your decision on what you want to use. What kind of chlorine do you want to use? You want to use liquid chlorine, which I think is the best. You want to use cal hypo. You want to use dichlor tablets. Whatever you choose, I leave that up to you. But I do present you the information so that you can make an educated decision on what you want to use in your pool. And I think that's important. And I think that's where the trouble-free pool forum really excels at. You may think that they're nitpicky and they may be tough on you, but they have their set, what they see as the ideal and that you shouldn't deviate from it. And that's okay. I just don't operate that way. I give you all the information. And again, I go back to the fact that I don't get paid by anybody, so I can give you information on borates. I give you information on Pool RX. And I'm okay with opposing views. I'm not going to argue with you if you don't like the product. And if you notice on my YouTube channel, if you leave a negative comment on a product, I don't delete it. And the reason for that is you have the right to put your opinion there, as long as you're not using profanity or if you're not belittling the product. I'll leave your negative comment up there because this is how it's supposed to be. And so I don't hide negative comments on products. Again, if you use profanity, I'll definitely delete it because I don't allow profanity on the channel. But other than that, you'll see products that I've done videos on and you'll see negative comments. And that's just, again, part of the business. And I can probably keep talking all day on this, but I just wanted to give you kind of an update on everything that I'm doing. And of course, the podcast has been very successful, and this is episode 500, so it's definitely a milestone to get the 500 podcast episodes, and I owe it to those that are listening that keep me energized and keep me doing these podcasts. And I try to keep all the content original. I don't want to be repetitive in all the podcasts, so sometimes you'll see similar content, but I always add something to it for you so that you can learn something new. And I'm always bringing new guests on to the show. So if you're looking to find out more about me, you go to my website, of course, swimmingpoollearning.com. I don't think I mentioned the blog that I write. I write a blog. I host a blog. I write blog articles. I can't say that right either. So I have a blog and I have articles on there. Basically, it's the video, and then I write a description about the product or the topic on chemistry or whatever. You can find that in the blog. I also have an ebook. I should mention this too. I have an ebook available from my website, swimmingpoollearning.com, and it's $9.99. And this ebook contains a lot of helpful things in there. And I have a print book available on Amazon, so you can find those resources also. And if you're interested in the coaching program that I kind of talked about at the beginning, I'm not sure if I gave the link or not, but you can learn more about that at poolguycoaching.com, and then you can join that program and definitely take your business to the next level. and be part of the group and the discounts that are offered there. And definitely, if you're interested in my son's 3D prints, you can go to my website homepage. At the very bottom, there's a link to purchase his 3D prints. And again, 10% of every purchase you make goes towards buying the farm animals for those in need around the world. So I hope you can continue to listen to the podcast. I hope the content is good for you. If you have any suggestions, you can email me at david@swimmingpoollearning.com, and I'll definitely address any topics you may be interested in. And if you have any constructive criticism, feel free to send it my way also. I'm also open to that. And if you have some positive things to say, which I really like, go ahead and send those to me as well. So thanks for listening to this podcast, and thanks for tuning in, and thanks for making episode 500 possible. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless. Leslie's Pool Supplies has been do-it-yourselfers and pool trade professionals' trusted partner since 1963, providing quality products and services to make pool care easy and solutions and expertise to do it right.